In today's video, we're taking a look at how to install blinds easy and simple. This is so easy, anyone could do. Everything that we use on the video, we're gonna leave a link on the description. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. That does help us out a lot. Thank you. So you woke up today and privacy is in your mind. Or the current blinds that you have seem they were in a boxing match and they lost all rounds. No matter if you're installing from no blinds or you're replacing the blinds, the technique will be the same. We've got your back. In another dimension, over the interwebs, a bus ride, train stop, and a 12-mile walk, but our back is a back. And the most important thing to understanding on how to install blinds is to know the parts that you have. But what we think is most important is to pre-install some of the parts. And now we're ready. The first thing that you want to do is verify that you have a home. Second, verify that you have windows to cover. And last and most importantly is that you have the blind. But just look at your spouse, family member, friend on the household and say those are air blinds. Remember the air guitar era? Same thing. And this technique will work for the 1-inch blinds or the 2-inch blind, and also no matter the material. And the first thing that we get in the box is the end caps. This is basically what's gonna cover the holes on the sides of the blind, and this is the top one. Next we have the bottom end caps. Next we have the valance. This is like a beauty cover for the front. We have the valance clips that hold the valance in place. Next we have the valance returns. This is what's gonna cover the sides. Next we have the valance connector. This is what's going to connect your front valance to the side valance, creating a corner. Next we have the hold down bracket. This is what holds your blinds in place at the bottom, and this is the most important part of the whole installation. This is the mounting bracket. This is what's going to hold your blinds up in there. And usually in the package you're going to have 2 sets of screws, smaller screws and bigger screws. Usually the longer screws are for the mounting brackets and the smaller screws for the blind holders. And lastly we have barbecue paper. I mean the owner's manual. And no, we did not forget we have the blinds, and hopefully we do. And what we like to do to save some time is install our end caps. We want to install the top ones and the bottom ones. Basically what you do is align them and insert, and we want to do this to both sides. Next on our valance we want to install the clips, and usually we like to give space on all sides because remember the hardware usually being on the corners, you don't want to install the clips usually too close to the corners, because usually remember that the mechanisms that make the blinds work are usually located there. We want to install the valance connector with the valance return on each set, and now you've done it. You become a pre-installer. A black belt should be coming via the mail carrier any day now. So as you can see on the left side we already installed our new blinds, and on the right side we still have the old ones. No matter in your case, the technique will be the same. We are going to remove the blinds from the right side, so you're going to be able to see how to start from scratch anyway. First we want to go ahead and remove the wand, and yes, that is the name according to the barbecue paper, I mean the owner's manual. So that means when you want to disappear some people on the household, wink wink, you have your magic wand. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the blinds itself. Usually pulling up and then pulling towards yourself should unclip it from the bracket. If it doesn't, there's nothing a sledgehammer can't do. I mean, you should be able to do it with ease. Next we're going to remove the mounting bracket. As you can see there are 2 screws, in this case Phillips screws. In your case it might be flat-headed screws, or in very odd cases nails. We want to go ahead and remove that, and remember the ancient technique passed down generation to generation of lefty loosey righty tighty. We want to go ahead and remove that on the other side, and here comes the best pro tip you're ever gonna get in the blind installation game. If you already have pre-existing blinds, you can always buy the new ones, making sure it's from the same manufacturer or using the same brackets, and usually just remove the old blinds and reinstall the new ones on the old mounting bracket. And then you can say, honey, I did it. And now we have a clean slate. So if you're starting from scratch, this is your step 1. So the most important thing that you want to know is, are you going to install the windows inside the window frame or on the outside? As you can see in this particular window, we don't have a frame on the inside or or space. So this is an outside installation. In your case, it might be an inside installation, but the technique will be the same. A pro tip, if you're installing an inside mount blinds, you want to measure the depth to make sure that you can fit your blinds inside. Remember, there's a 1-inch blind, a 2-inch blind, and many other sizes. If you haven't bought your blinds or don't know the size of your blind, the technique is simple. We use the 3x3 method, measuring in 3 different locations, either vertically or horizontal. And usually the best way is to measure each corner and then the middle. There you have 3 measurements. And then repeat that the other way. For your horizontal measurement, you want to take the smallest measurement, and this would be your width. And for your vertical measurement, the longest would be your height measurement. And now you've done it. You become a measuring wizard. A pro tip, you can always take this information to your hardware store, talk to an associate, and they would provide you the exact blind. They also got calculators online which you can use. But usually the manufacturer counts in the size of the brackets and the end caps and everything that you would need for the mount according to your measurement. Just make sure to verify on the box or with the associate, either reading on the box or letting the associate know if you're doing an inside mount or an outside mount, because the size of the blind may differ. And now comes if you want your blinds to be straight or not. Usually here at the StatUpBox team, we eyeball it. But for you today, we brought the big guns. No, and not your arms or my arms, even though those are big guns. You can either choose to use a level, a laser, and that could be a small level or a big level. Remember, size doesn't matter, it's technique. Once you find level, you can always use a pencil to mark the line. And what we like to do is place the top of the bracket on the line. And this technique will work for an inside mount or an outside mount. But if you're doing an inside mount on the top, then both on the brackets, you want to use the holes on the top. And what we like to do is find the center of the frame and install it there. Just make sure that you have enough space for the size of your blinds. You can always do a dry run, placing the blinds inside on the top and verifying where center is at. So the basic rule of thumb is, if you're installing it on the outside, you want to use the front holes for the screws, and we use the long screws to install it. If you're going inside of the frame, usually you want to use the top ones and still use the same long screws. Always remember, righty tighty, lefty loosey. In this particular bracket, the longer side will be at the top and the shorter side at the bottom. If you notice, the holes are usually a long oval shape. So that means even if you place the screws and you need to move it a little bit up or down, you can always loosen the screw a little bit and move the bracket up and down until you find level. So you can use this technique using your level and the bracket. Once the screws are in, you loosen them, you place the level on top and find level. And once you have, you can tighten them all the way. And you're going to use the same technique for both sides. And now we can install the right side using the same technique. And we usually want to place the brackets at the corners. And remember, you always want to verify that the brackets are not going to hit the mechanism inside. Usually on your barbecue paper, owner's manual will tell you the distance off each corner where you want to install the brackets. A pro tip, always verify by stepping a few feet back and looking at your work, because the last thing you want is one more down than the other. Now we're going to get our blinds. We want to make sure that the wand holder is in the front and not in the back. And trust me, it does happen. On your 35th blind install, it might happen. And now that we have our blinds, we want to make sure that we have equal space on both sides. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to insert first the top and then push back the blind that's going to set on the bottom. So basically what the top does, it clips in of the outside of the blind housing, and then when you push it back, it clips on the bottom part. Always make sure that both sides are snugged in. A pro tip, you might want to move it a little bit after the install just to make sure that it is correctly in there. You always want to hear a click once it's installed. You're going to feel the pressure once it's in correctly, because the last thing you want is your loved one to go touch the blinds and then falling on top of their head. Wink wink. I mean, we don't want this. Not if we want to keep the throne. Or is it their throne and we live in it? No, our throne. Just don't tell anybody. Once it's secure, we should be able to pull the blind down without any major movement. We can go ahead and place the wand. This would require a side insert and then a small pull down, or just like last night. I mean, editor, cut that out. Now we're gonna install the valance cover, the beauty cover. Basically what we're gonna do is take our clips and clip it on the inside of the blind housing and then a small pull down. This should clip it in place. If you notice it's hitting anything, it might be that you might have to move the clips because it might be hitting the mechanism in the inside. You can always verify with your barbecue paper, I mean with your owner's manual, where the correct location of the clips should be installed. But we love eyeballing it. Now we're gonna do the valance returns, and in this case, because we have some blinds to the left, we're gonna have to unclip it again and install it the old-fashioned way with some bump and grind. I mean with some insertion. I think what we mean is we place it in place and it should look good. I think those are words that we can use, and we want to repeat this on both sides. As you can see on our other side, we didn't have to unclip it, but we did have to insert it. I mean, you get the deal. If you haven't pulled your blinds all the way down, we want to go ahead and do that now, because we're going to place our hold down bracket. This is basically what's going to keep your blinds set to the always down position, or not let the blinds move if you have the windows open and wind is going on. But it also makes it look nice because they're always straight and uniform. So as you can see on our left side how that works, and remember, this is optional. You don't have to install this. We basically want to find where we want our blinds to rest or how low we want it to go, and then when we find that spot, we're basically gonna screw it on our frame. And for this, we're gonna use the small screws. And remember, righty tighty, lefty loosey. We also want to repeat this to the other side as well, and we choose the longest measurement because remember, just like salt, once you put too much salt, you can't take it back. So it's better to have a longer blind, which you could just raise up, than a shorter one that doesn't even reach. And now you've done it. You become a master on the blind society. I mean, no, that's not it. You become a master on the blind installation society of this planet. Now you can pat yourself on the back for a job well done. Don't forget, if you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up. That really helps. If you have any questions, place them in the comment section below. Either someone on the StatUpBox team or someone on the YouTube community can help you out with an answer. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on social media. Thank you for watching, and here's a link to our latest video.